Have you ever wondered what will happen after death? Is it the final end of our existence, similar to the state before we were born? Or is there some kind of soul that continues to exist after physical death and is even capable of being reborn to begin a new life? Will we perhaps see again all the loved ones we miss so deeply after death? We have spent a long time researching these extremely interesting questions with great intensity. What we have discovered about death and what might happen after it is quite fascinating and, in part, also shocking. So make yourself comfortable and grab something nice to drink. Near-death experiences. A near-death experience is a fascinating phenomenon that can occur when a person has been clinically dead and then revived. Although the experiences vary greatly from person to person, there are common elements that connect many reports. Some people often describe an intense feeling of peace, warmth, and love during their near-death experience. They feel drawn to an overwhelming light and have the sense of traveling through a tunnel that leads them to another dimension. During this experience, they may also have out-of-body perceptions in which they feel separated from their physical body, and can even observe events from a bird's-eye perspective. Reports of encounters with deceased relatives or spiritual beings are deeply comforting for those affected, and give them the sense that there is still something after death. Although near-death experiences cannot yet be fully understood or explained scientifically, they have raised important questions about consciousness, about life after death, and about the nature of the human mind. Some researchers believe they are the result of neurological processes, while others assume that near-death experiences may provide a glimpse into the afterlife. If you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to our channel and leaving a like. Thank you. The birth canal theory. The birth canal theory offers a fascinating perspective on death as a transition that resembles the process of birth. According to this extraordinary theory, the tunnel of light that many people experience during near-death experiences is interpreted as a birth canal. Just as a newborn passes through the birth canal to enter the world, the soul, after death, could move through this tunnel into a new form of existence. This idea encourages us to imagine that death is not the final end, but rather a kind of rebirth. It is a fascinating concept that invites us to reflect on the nature of death and life, and makes us wonder whether death is truly the end or rather a transition into something new. Could death actually be the beginning of a new life? Who knows? In any case, it is a very interesting thought. Reincarnation. The doctrine of reincarnation, rooted in many Eastern religions such as Hinduism and Buddhism, views death as a transition into a new existence shaped by our actions, by karma. Karma is a central concept in Eastern religions that describes the law of cause and effect. It states that every action, whether physical, mental, or emotional, has a corresponding impact on our current or future life. This belief sees death as an opportunity for spiritual growth and purification. The ultimate goal is to break free from the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and to reach the highest spiritual goal, which in Buddhism is called Nirvana. In Nirvana, one experiences complete peace and liberation from the limitations of earthly existence. The idea that death is not the end, but part of a greater cosmic process of spiritual evolution, has fascinated and inspired people around the world for centuries. Rebirth as a curse. While many see rebirth as a chance for spiritual development, some view it as an endless cycle of suffering from which it is very difficult to escape. In some belief systems, life on Earth is seen as a path of suffering, and rebirth is considered just another round of this painful cycle. In Buddhism, the path to liberation from the infinite cycle of birth, death, and rebirth is found through the Noble Eightfold Path. This path includes wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. By developing compassion, insight, and inner peace, one can understand and overcome the causes of suffering. The consistent application of these principles in life ultimately leads to enlightenment and makes it possible to break free from the cycle of rebirth. So anyone who no longer wishes to be reborn should make sure to think positively and perform positive actions, since these help to create good karma and support the path to liberation. Cultural differences in dealing with death. While some cultures view death as a transition into another existence, others see it as the final end of existence. These different perspectives shape not only beliefs about death, but also the way grief is expressed. In Ghana, for example, there is a tradition in which the deceased are carried to their final resting place in specially crafted coffins. During the funeral procession, the coffin bearers are accompanied by drummers, and it often happens that they honor the deceased with a festive dance. This tradition reflects the belief of many Ghanaian communities that death is not only a cause for mourning, but also an opportunity to celebrate the life that has passed. This joyful attitude may seem quite unusual to people in Western cultures, but in some traditions, it is seen as an expression of respect for the deceased. The simulation theory. The simulation theory is a fascinating idea that claims our reality is part of a highly advanced simulation, similar to the movie The Matrix from 1999, in which the world-famous and charismatic Hollywood actor Keanu Reeves plays the leading role. This theory combines philosophical considerations with the influence of modern technology. Just imagine that everything we experience, see, and feel is in fact part of a virtual construct, created by an advanced intelligence. After death, we might realize that our life was only one component of a much larger and more complex system. The idea behind this theory is that we may have consciously chosen to participate in this simulation, in order to gather certain experiences or learn specific lessons. This concept raises many exciting questions. What is the true nature of this higher reality? Who or what is controlling the simulation? And what would it mean for us humans if our reality is not truly real? Many experts, including personalities such as Elon Musk, have supported the simulation theory. Musk believes that the probability is very high that we are living in a simulation. In his view, this assessment is based on the progress of technology, especially regarding virtual reality. He argues that if technological development continues to advance and we become capable of creating extremely realistic simulations that are indistinguishable from real reality, then it is highly likely that an advanced civilization would already be capable of creating such a complex simulation. Therefore, according to Elon Musk's view, it is plausible that we may already be living in a simulation. Who knows, maybe after death we will wake up in the real reality and realize with astonishment that we have actually been inside a simulation, the immortality of the soul. Consciousness is what enables humans to perceive and experience their environment. It is our sense of self and our existence. The soul, on the other hand, is often considered to be a kind of non-physical essence that makes up our consciousness and our identity. In many spiritual and religious traditions, the idea is embraced that the soul is immortal. This means that although our physical body will eventually die, our soul could nevertheless continue to exist in some form. In the universe, there is a principle that energy cannot simply be erased or destroyed, but only transformed into other forms. Since everything, absolutely everything in the universe, consists of energy, some argue that the human soul, which is likewise regarded as a form of energy, cannot simply disappear even when the physical body dies. One belief is that the soul is reborn in order to gather new experiences and to grow spiritually. Another view is that after death, the soul enters a spiritual dimension in which it continues to exist and evolve without a physical body. There are also concepts that suggest the soul is part of a greater consciousness that permeates everything in the universe. In this view, there are no longer separate individual identities, but instead, all souls are part of a shared universal consciousness. It is an idea that suggests we humans are all connected and part of something greater. This perspective offers an intriguing way of reflecting on life and death by supporting the idea. that our consciousness has a deeper connection to the universe, and that our existence continues beyond physical death. Is physical death really the end? The cruel thought that after death nothing exists, not even consciousness or sensation, is a profound and deeply unsettling idea. Many people imagine nothingness as an empty black space, but even that space is not truly nothing. Because when we imagine an empty space, we still have the notion of a space or a void. There is still some form of existence, even if it is empty or dark. It is similar to imagining that a glass is empty. Even if the glass contains no liquid, the glass itself still exists as an object. It is not nothing, it is simply empty. The concept of nothingness, therefore, presents an insurmountable challenge, because it is simply impossible to imagine the absence of everything, including any form of space, time, or existence. This shows how difficult it is to understand or imagine nothingness, and highlights the profound nature of the fear of nothingness that many people feel when they think about death. The impossibility of grasping nothingness can lead to a sense of being lost and uncertain. It is very hard to imagine what it means to no longer exist or to lose every form of consciousness. Can anything at all arise from nothing? From a purely logical standpoint, there must have been a point at which something came into being. According to the Big Bang theory, the universe began as an extremely dense and hot state known as the Big Bang. But what was before that? Some people argue that before the Big Bang there was nothing. No time, no space, simply nothing. Therefore, they say, the question of what came before the Big Bang is completely meaningless. But since perhaps nothingness does not exist, this means that something must have always existed and always will exist. Thus, the universe and existence have no beginning point and no end point. If you think about it for a moment, it can make you feel uneasy. This concept is sometimes described as infinite existence or eternal reality. It suggests that there may never have been a state of absolute nothingness, and never will be. Instead, there may always have been some form of existence, whether space, time, energy, or consciousness. Some people therefore believe that there is such a thing as a soul that is immortal. Our lives are therefore only small fragments of our infinite being. A rather dizzying thought. According to this theory, we can answer the question of what comes after death with certainty. It definitely continues. We merely leave behind our deceased body and embark on another journey. Now we look forward to hearing your personal opinions about this. Do you